about where you want to be. It's about where you need to be. Only grown folks allowed. You remember when you was young and you was around all your grown folks and your parents was around and y'all was having grown folks conversation and you was the young one, the kid around in the conversation. What your parents used to tell you? Going outside and play. You don't need to be around grown folks when they talking. This is one of them channels. One thing since becoming a blogger, a YouTuber, a podcaster, that I started to notice is how much we lose people with potential that come from poverty-stricken neighborhoods. And when you see Foolio on the background, and you see TakeOff, and you see Tan the God, and everybody else we done lost in the game, before we get all the way into it, we got to have a moment of silence for all the ones we lost, family, loved ones, everybody that done lost family and loved ones. Man, a moment of silence to everybody that we lost. The only grown folks allowed. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Let's go. Man, it's crazy around these parts, man, because we seen what happened to Julio Foolio, and then we seen what Young and Ace started doing once Foolio passed, right? Rest in peace to Julio Foolio. But now they got 3 suspects in custody, and they saying it's still 2 other suspects, so that makes it 5 people that was involved. But if you see a big problem in this picture, right? We see the female in the middle. Why? Oh, why are these young women, young black women, always involved in taking part in the negative activities that's going on in these we talking about the ones that keep our race going, right? Why do we keep seeing young women keep participating in drills, in robberies, and all these other things that we least expect women to take part in? We talking about Julio Foolio. Now, granted, Julio Foolio was a big disser. He dissed his ops a lot, and he taunted Young and Ace and 23 a lot. We also saw Young and Ace celebrate the fact that Foolio got stepped on and deleted and took away from his family. We watched him light cigars, drink Don Julio, and make 13 different diss songs. He played his part in this too. But to see Alicia Andrews, Sean Gathright, Isaiah Chance, especially Alicia Andrews, because we know in the young generation today, females like to ride and take part in what they see the younger men do, and they're in the car with them. They're taking part in these back doors. They're going on robberies. They enjoy, they get a kick out of it. And to see her being this young and then being involved in something this serious, you know she wasn't deceived into the situation. She knew exactly what was going on. She was with it. Now she caught up in it, and now all of a sudden they know everybody that participated. Somebody tell them. And that's what makes celebrating when the game ain't over yet even worse, because now we know that the police think that these 5 suspects are tied to 1,200 and ATK, and I ain't the smartest nigga in the book, but when somebody ties somebody else to you in a high-profile crime, it look bad. One thing for sure, police ain't playing down in Jacksonville, and whoever did this to Julio Foolio in Tampa, whether they from Jacksonville or Tampa, but we do know that these 3 suspects are from Jacksonville, so that mean they drove to Tampa, and for it to be 2 other people, that mean 5 people drove to Tampa, went to a major public place during Julio Foolio's birthday and took him down, as if the hotel didn't have a whole bunch of cameras around. It's finna be some telling going on, and it's finna be some niggas going to jail, but at the end of the day, it's definitely finna be some justice for Julio Foolio. Rest in peace, Julio Foolio. One thing I do want to stress before we get into the next thing is rest in peace to Julio Foolio. Condolences to his family. And I hope the young in Jacksonville get it together, because it's a lot of things going on in Jacksonville. And I also hope Young and Ace, being successful like he is, and Young at the same time, get it together enough to be able to continue to be successful and make the right decisions, because we watching the streets take everybody away. And it's not a good thing. So shout out to Jacksonville. Rest in peace to Foolio. And I hope they city get better. But we got to get into the next thing on the list, man. We have to talk about Trump's immunity speech at one of his rallies, where he spoke on if he's elected. Basically, he will grant police officers immunity, therefore they can do their job. They supposed to be doing their job regardless, right? At least that's what we think of them, or we supposed to expect from them, protect and serve. But we see they do more serving than protecting. And in the case of Sonia Massey, rest in peace to her, condolences to her family. This is a sad case, right? But we also see Sean Grayson being charged with the situation. And let me just say this before we get into it. This what makes what Trump said that much more important, because we watched Trump get Kodak Black out of a real situation. We watched Trump get Lil Wayne out of a real situation. So don't think for 1 minute he won't get one of his own out of a real situation. And this was what goes back to what he said, because at this very moment, while he's saying this and going to these rallies and putting this in the face of the public, we have this Sonia Massey situation. So granted, if he's found guilty and he's sentenced and the election goes Trump's way, expect for Sean Gracie to be pardoned. Justice for Sonia Massey. Let's get into it. We need to start standing up. We need to bring our village back, because at the same time, look at what's going on. We can't depend on other people to protect us. At this point, we have to learn how to protect our families. It seems in today's world that has become a thing that you really need to prioritize and really worry about, is protecting your family. Let's get into it. Condolences to TakeOff's family, Offset, Quavo, they whole family, right? Because this whole situation has been quiet. And he pointed out some things. We're going to get into it. But he pointed out some things when it comes to the Prince family. And we all know the Prince family do carry a lot of power, money, and muscle in Texas. Houston specifically. And you can't knock them for that, because they built that up. And when you set your foundation in place and then you start building your levels and your floors and how you want your rooms to be, you stand on business about keeping that foundation how it is. So I don't knock the Prince family. I gotta salute them. Much respect for this. But at the same time, we see Patrick Clark, aka DJ Pat, being accused of being the one that took TakeOff. But what DJ Akademiks is basically assuming or alleging or throwing in the atmosphere for us to understand and pay attention to is the fact that there's so much going on under the I'm not gonna see the unseen hand because we know who runs shit in Houston. But that may be the very reason this whole TakeOff situation gets swept up under the rug and it end up being more of a cover-up instead of a situation where we expecting justice. Let's get into it.
It's that much power and influence. They said, you ain't know? Yeah. I said, what the fuck? I said, well, yo, you know, it was at J Prince Jr. party that, like, TakeOff got killed. You know what they told me? They about to throw that case out. Nothing gonna come out of that. Trust. I said, what do you mean? Do we have to spell it out? I said, what are you talking about? They said, oh, I forgot. You covered the case and you thought you solved it on the street. You thought you got justice for TakeOff. You don't know how it worked out here. I said, what you mean? Remember the guy who supposedly killed TakeOff? They caught him because he booked a flight to Mexico. He was leaving the country. Think about this, chat. The nigga who killed TakeOff got caught after he was transferring money and booked a flight out the country. I said, yeah, that's the guy, yeah. They said, would it shock you if not only they gave him a bond, first of house arrest, but now he could go wherever he wants? I said, no way.
I gotta say, I've never knew TakeOff personally. We was all just fans of the Migos. I think I speak for everybody when I say we was all fans of the Migos. But at the same time, they created something. They had legendary moments. They had a legendary run. We have to commend TakeOff for playing his part in that whole situation. But now what we see is a good soul gone too soon. And it seems like we might not see any justice. You see what I'm saying? And it's sad because when you think about his family, at the end of the day, that's what they gonna want more than anything, because he ain't never coming back. So to not get that, or to even think it's a possibility that you might not get no justice for your loved one, understand how that got to feel and understand how that may look. It ain't about where you want to be. It's about where you need to be. Only Grown Folks Allowed podcast. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I'm finna get up out of here. Make sure y'all tap in, tune in, and help me bring this village back, man. I'm out.